Israel is lying about the battalions in Gaza. They lie about everything, obviously. But this is about the count of their own soldiers' deaths.
Yeah.
So 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐄𝐿, one of the major Israeli newspapers, says that no less than 10,000 soldiers who were killed or wounded during the long months of fighting in the Gaza Strip are missing from the Israeli army today. According to the data of the Ministry of Defense's Rehabilitation Division, every month about 1,000 new soldiers join the ranks of the physically and mentally wounded. None of this has stopped the Knesset and the government from smearing the legislation of the law, extending the mandatory service, and leaving the regular soldiers in the Israeli army in great frustration and with question marks. So we're saying the army is suffering from a shortage of at least 10,000 soldiers killed or wounded during the long months of fighting. What do you make of this? What do we know about the Israeli casualty figures? If we know anything, again.
We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know. They don't match. They don't ever match. They very rarely match. The sniper operation that we showed with the soldier hanging out of the tank. They acknowledged that one because for whatever reason that one was acknowledged and you
Yeah.
can track it and connect it. But one of the jobs that I do is to try to match the operations, what the Israelis say they're doing, what the Qassam brigades are doing, and see if you can make them match. When we watch a video of a booby-trapped home where we just saw 9 triangles entering that home, you look for a 9 triangle, you just don't find it.
Right.
Mass casualty events, you just don't find being reported. The Israelis report at this time, they're reporting like 1 or 2 deaths a week. And we watch videos where we're seeing multiple killed on each battlefront. So they've been lying about their casualties. I don't know any other way to say it. I'm pretty confident when you see numbers like this, the rehab division is the defense ministry's rehab division.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons why the rehab division statistics come out is because, like, through the military censor is the reason why we don't know the casualties. They're hiding them. And they have to be approved by the military censor. But I believe that the reason these rehab division from the defense ministry stats get out is because they need additional funding from the government. So the defense ministry is allowing these stats to come out because these stats, 10,000, that's consistent with what the rehab division has been saying. The rehabilitation division of the defense ministry has been saying for months. In June, the number was 7,000. So they've added 3,000, which matches this number. They're adding 1,000 soldiers a month to their casualty list. But if you go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs casualty list, it runs a daily casualty list. It's nothing even close to that. If you
Yeah.
go to the IDF's casualty list, which they acknowledge their casualties, it's under 2,000. And it stays there, even though we see operations this week, like in Rafah. They just announced, I'm not sure if I read it on air, but they announced that there was 8 wounded soldiers in one of those booby traps. You don't see the number spike. They seem to stay at the same number all the time. So I think it's fair to say they're lying about their casualties. I reported on this a number of times, but one time back in December, it looked like Haaretz was pressuring the IDF to release the numbers, and they were going to the hospitals and trying to get numbers from each of the hospitals. And then that was the 10th of December. I have the numbers here. 10,548 soldiers were wounded and admitted to hospital between October 7th and December 10th. So in
So there's the
December 10th,
10,000 right
there was
there.
10,000.
Yeah.
And then the war has gone on for 250 days since
Since.
then.
Yeah.
So something's not adding up. But what we do know that there are IDF spokespersons, soldiers in every single hospital controlling information. And this is one of the things that the Haaretz article was trying to. It seemed like Haaretz was going to expose them. And this was the article where they listed the hospitals, like the Ashkelon hospital alone 3,000 people in that hospital alone, 1,500 of them in Ashdod, uh, Barzillai 2,000 admitted in those ones. So you have entire hospitals in December when there'd only been uh, 35 days of ground war, putting out these numbers that if those would continue, or even if they continued and then were in decline, would get you far above 10,000. So it's not clear exactly why the rehab numbers come out, but these are people who are seriously wounded, who have lost limbs and are learning how to walk. There's talk in the Israeli media about how Israel needs to really uh, expand their accessibility. Like people saying like we park our cars on the sidewalks, like we can't do that anymore. We need to have ramps into buildings because they have so many wounded soldiers in wheelchairs that they're going to need to change the physical infrastructure of their cities to accommodate the costs that this war has taken. And so um, I don't know how deeply they
Mm.
can lie about the numbers, like in and how long they can do it, but they're clearly hiding their casualties because it lowers the morale and it makes it look like they're not being successful in the war, and they have a conscription army uh, who might not want to know what the total number is. But this goes against Israel's history. They used to put the names of
Yeah.
people out right away, or reasonably right away. And then yeah, on was it on Yom Kippur where they like list the names on TV, right? Like on a scroll on TV. Um, that's not what's happening this time.